Strains and sprains are really common injuries. Typically a sprain is done after you've stretched a ligament. It'll be sore, really quite painful. There might be quite a lot of swelling as well. You may find that you can't move the joint properly or walking on it's really difficult. So most strains and sprains can be managed at home using some simple techniques. If you're not sure and you're worried about it, you think it might be a more serious injury, you can always call 111, go to your GP, or you can go to the Milton Keynes Urgent Care Centre for advice as well. That's open 24/7. So the first thing to do after you have a sprain or strain is to think price. That stands for protection and painkillers, rest, ice, compression and elevation. So when we talk about protecting the injury, we want to protect it from further injury. So you might need a support or well-fitting shoe. Painkillers, you can just try simple painkillers like paracetamol. Your pharmacist can always provide you more advice on this if you need it. When we say resting it, we're talking about the next 2 to 3 days, trying not to use it too much. With the ice, you want to take some ice and wrap it in a towel and apply it to the injured area for about 15 to 20 minutes every 2 to 3 hours. And again, that's for the first 2 to 3 days. Don't put the ice directly on the skin and don't leave the ice on it when you go to sleep because you could get a cold burn. For compression, you want to use bandage the area to limit the swelling. So you can use a simple elasticated bandage or a tubular bandage, again available from your pharmacy. And last, elevation, we want to lift the injured area, ideally above this part of your chest. So if it's your foot, you might want to lie down. If it's an arm, you might want to just raise your arm up like this. And that's again to reduce swelling.